Good morning, Sonia. We're here at the London Summit Finance Magnates annual event for the financial services industry. You're the founder of the LMF network. Can you share a bit what the network is about? What do you do?
Yeah, I mean, in simple terms, I worked in finance and fintech myself from 2015 to 2020. And I found myself quite isolated, a little bit lonely and unsure of how to level up in my knowledge, my networks and my career. So I founded a brunch club in 2018. In 2019, when I was made redundant, I realized that there was a missing gap between what companies want to do for inclusion and what they actually do to level up their people. So I moved it into a business in 2020. In simple terms, we are an inclusion consultancy. So we optimize workplaces, people and processes, and then we reinvest our profits into a mentorship program so that people can build their knowledge and networks. We've upskilled 20,000 people in 3 years, have a 90% success rate, and we just launched an app on the App Store so that you can find your friends, have career conversations and build your network in the palm of your hands, whilst companies can really help to facilitate their L&D functions or their training or their culture of belonging within the business through this kind of, magical app in the palm of your hand.
That's impressive.
Thank you.
So you work as an inclusion consultant for many firms, and I would like to ask what misconceptions are still prevalent, even in companies that are enough forward-looking and progressive to hire your services?
I think it's a really good question. Now, I look at it also from a commercial lens as well as a community lens. What I mean to say is, listen, a lot of the time CEOs, founders, entrepreneurs, they have an idea, it sparks their imagination and they go and innovate, but they might not have the lessons or the training themselves. So I think on one hand, we need to give them the training and the relevant skills to manage people upwards and downwards, but we also need to remember to be kind to them, because a lot of the time we feel like the problems are within the juniors or the middle management, but actually, myself included, I'm a great leader, I'm a good CEO. Okay. I'm not the best manager, and so I need the skills that are relevant to build us up. Okay. The second point is the policies really change the way that people show up. So get your juniors especially involved, so have a bottom-up process when you're creating policies. Everything from onboarding, attraction, hiring, retention, and then lastly and most importantly is training. How are we constantly improving the skills of people? Right now we're in a digital age where everything is online, but that means that now going back to work in the real world means that we've lost skills like communication and networking. We are at a conference, and I kid you not, around 80% of people have no clue how to network at a conference, how to shake someone's hand, how to have a conversation, how to create that culture of belonging. So in simple terms...
And is this a gender thing? Is this...
No, it's times are moving so fast that tech is really disrupting our lives for positives and for negatives. And so from a more generic framework, it's skills for our leaders, it's policies for our business, and it's the relevant in-person practical training for our people. Now, when it comes to gender, there's various different areas and challenges. Mentorship is one of them. If you don't have the relevant networks to help you level up in your career, you have the old boys network, you don't have the old girls network, that's going to be problematic. So 80% of your opportunities come from a network, and that's what we're all about, upskilling. Two, it's the fact that a lot of women still to this day don't feel comfortable sharing their opinion because they're afraid of small instances like proximity bias, so not being close enough to the leader, thinking that you're going to get left out of that promotion cycle, or that you're too loud, you're too assertive, you're too confident.
Is that still a
feedback?
Problem.
It's still a feedback. And then three, it's what happens when you have other life commitments.
Right, how to juggle it all.
How to juggle it, how to balance. Now, life commitments could mean parenthood, but it can also mean people who might not be parents but are carers or have commitments outside of work. And so how do you balance that while keeping things fair and equitable? And I think equity is what we're looking for. Equity means that, from the simplistic view that everything is equal and everyone has a fair and accessible chance and opportunity. The best person in the end thrives, but the best person also means that we need to provide them with the skills, the tools, the resources, the training, and the policies to help them get there.
Okay, there's a lot
going
on.
Absolutely.
No, I see. You came here, how many coffees have you had already?
I don't drink
caffeine. Or this is zero? This is your zero coffee level?
This is me as a morning person.
Okay.
I'm passionate about this topic.
I see.
But I'm also mindful that as a human, as a person, I'm not AI, right? I'm not a robot. I still have a lot to learn. And I think that's the point I'm trying to make from my first point was, I went into the world of business thinking I found a problem, I think I have a solution, let me go figure it out. But then you have so many different hats to juggle: policies, people, processes, managing upwards and downwards, being at networking events like this, and then trying to help your people balance who they are and figure out their identity whilst making the business grow, it's a lot going on.
Yes.
And so there's no one size fits all approach. And what I would say for anyone listening is please don't try and do everything at once.
Okay.
What I do say to companies is have 4 main focus areas a year and break them down into different quarters.
This is a good segue to another question. You soon have a panel, so I won't keep you for long, but you're also an author of Unprepared to Entrepreneur.
Yes.
You're the proud host of a great podcast, The Daily Hustle.
Yeah.
So what pragmatic advice would you give to someone running or scaling a fintech business in 2025?
Yeah, absolutely. One, go and do your market research. Figure out what people actually want versus it being in your brain and being like, this is what I think the solutions are. No, show up in spaces and ask for feedback.
Okay.
2 is to use AI to optimize those processes. So everything from SWOT to pros and cons to actually doing an analysis is great. Don't cheat, but create efficiencies. 3 is to always ask for help, be that connecting with your network, finding your mentors, or not knowing what you don't know. Fintech is changing so rapidly. And so for you to be able to actually create a substantial solution, you have to be honestly keeping up with the times. Every day I wake up and I've swapped reality shows for real-time news. Every day I watch or listen to the real news for about half an hour. I listen to business, tech, and AI podcasts. I make sure I know what's happening in the world of fintech, just so that I can stay on top of mind. And I think with this day and age, there's so much misinformation that in order for you to build or scale a fintech business, you have to make sure that you understand what your truth is, what your audience's truth is, what your customer's truth is, and then go and create a solution to tackle those truths rather than getting sidetracked with where the world is going.
So focus, AI, footwork.
Oh, I think that's a great summary. Yeah, absolutely.
Great. Okay, thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the panel, which has to do with AI and talent. So
Absolutely.
it really fits in nicely. Thank you very much.
Thank you.